All right, so we are back at it. I truly believe the car is trying to make me sell it. So you watch the last, went to drag week, broke the transmission, which I'm fine. No issues breaking the car to the track. That's what they're built for. They're going to break. If it's going to break at the track, no issues. But I was driving this thing to work today. I've drove it to work quite a few times. I'm trying to drive it. Anytime there's good weather, I try to drive it to work. And I drove it this morning. And everything was great. Didn't do anything crazy with it. Didn't do anything weird. Drove fine. Got to work, shut it off. Did my day. Drove it home. On the way home, I noticed that the temp gauge was doing funky things. So I wasn't sure what was going on. So, I kind of thought, because just driving it usually gets to 180, then the fans come on, cools off to 175, and it just kind of cycles. Well, it shot up to 200 fairly quick. Thought that was kind of weird, but then I got out on the road and it cooled back off, and I was like, well, cool. But so the next time I got into some traffic, I went ahead and pulled into the parking lot to see if my fans were working. And what I found was the bottom radiator hose was off, so there was no cooling in the motor. Don't have any idea when that happened. I had antifreeze in it, right? So if it busted while I was driving, I would think I would smell the antifreeze. I would get under the tire and make it spin. I don't know. I'm at a loss. So the only thing I can think happened is this morning at work after I parked it, maybe it sat there and heated up and that hose busted and then it overheated. So anyway, so I've drove it like 20 miles with no coolant, So called the wife, she brought me some tools, got the radiators back on, put coolant in it, and then, it's definitely got a bad head gasket because I drove it a little bit more, overheated right away, pulled back over, and there's oil in the radiator. So here we are. So one of the reasons I went Mustang 2 front suspension was to make this thing easier to work on, because it is a junkyard LS, so it's going to break, which it's just, I don't mind breaking stuff at the track. I think it's dumb when stuff breaks on the way to and from work, especially when I'm not beating on it. If I was beating on it, that's one thing, but I wasn't. Anyway, all right, so we got the radiator drain and got the intake ready to come off. So we'll all right, we got the intake off. So I'm gonna see if I can get this manifold. I can definitely get off because I have flex joint. This one I'm not so sure, but I'm hoping I can get the manifolds off without having to mess with the exhaust. That'd be stellar, but I don't know if I will or not on this passenger side. Driver side, I think I can do for sure. And so I'm going to snatch spark plug wires off and start on driver side. All right, as we hoped, driver side came off super easy. Was able to use the impact on most of them, and then I just had to get a wrench on these two up here. So super excited. Easy to work on, that's what I'm after, even though I don't like working on it this much. All right, got the valve cover off. Fixing to do the rockers. Oh, my battery's getting weak. That's a bunch of junk. All right, rather than wait for the battery charge, went ahead and broke them loose, probably like they're supposed to anyway. Now I'm gonna hit them with the zippy. All right, so we got the rockers off this side. Gonna go ahead and pull this head. So I gotta take off my steam crossover, and then we'll get these head bolts broke loose and see if we see anything. All right, so it's only been really probably 40 minutes, maybe, and we're ready to take the head off. So definitely easier to work on than it used to be. Don't want to make this a habit, but let's take this head off and see what we see. So I really don't see anything too weird on this side. I mean, the head looks okay, which is good. I still gotta put a flat edge on all this stuff, but there's no obvious issues, which is good and bad, right? So I'm trying to look at these water passages and see if it was jumping, but I'm not sure. I really hope we see it's like a smoking gun on the other side. If not, it'll be nerve-wracking. Well, to be honest, I don't see anything crazy on this side either, which kind of worries me. But I will think about it tonight and get back out here tomorrow and see what's up. So, not really sure. I don't see any obvious bad spot. Possibly right there is the only spot, but I don't know. Don't know. But I'll get this stuff cleaned up and get a straight edge on both heads and a straight edge on the block, just to make sure it didn't warp when it got super hot. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Maybe I was a little gung-ho taking it apart, but it definitely has oil. You can see the brown schmuck. Definitely has oil in the water in the radiator. So it's definitely leaking somewhere. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. So we're going to think about it and get back out here tomorrow. This next day, we're out here getting back to work on these heads, seeing if we can find out. See if we see anything obvious. I'm going to get them cleaned up and try to see if I see anything. Alright, so we got this thing cleaned up. Fixing to get the straight edge on it. So I actually use these wallpaper scrapers. They're a lot longer than razor blades to scrape everything. I notice sometimes when I'm using a razor blade, I kind of gouge the aluminum, so these things kind of work better for me. But to each their own. And anyway, it's clean now, so I'll go find my straight edge and see what I think. Alright, so I got my straight edge, and luckily, I think my head looks good. So put a bright light behind it. I'm not seeing anything that would make me think that my head's just like crazy not flat. You know, this is very low tech, but you know, I'm not seeing anything that makes me worry. So we'll call this one good. Get the other one over here, see if we see anything. Alright, so kind of same story on the passenger side. We don't, the only thing, so if you look, I don't have any light, just like driver's side, but I do it, have that, ooh, that's hard to see. Have that ding right there, which I don't know if this thing will focus. So I'm not sure what that is and if it matters, but I'm going to do a little more looking into that and then go from there. Alright, so I worked on getting that little spot cleaned up, and as far as I can tell, it's just a ding, just a dent in the head. It doesn't look like it's a hole. I don't know. It's got me worried though. But it's pretty deep, so I don't want to sand it. I thought about sanding it flat, but it goes down there pretty far, so I don't know. I hate to put it all back together, and that is my issue. But anyway, got the motor cleaned up. Excuse the mess, it's messy again. Got my slicks on my van, so ready to go to the track if the car is running. But so I got this cleaned up, so I'm gonna get the flat edge on it, and dug out my head gaskets. So if this thing checks out flat, and I'll make a decision on that head over there, we'll get this thing back together. All right, so really couldn't film the whole flat edge checking thing. It's kind of awkward in there, but everything looks good. So the only thing weird is that little ding on the head. Go think about that a little bit more, and we'll put this thing back together probably. All right, so we're done thinking. We're gonna get this thing back together. So I got the old Jegs brand LS9 gaskets. So see how these do. I haven't tried these. The ones that were on there were just GM LS9 gaskets, but I found these on sale about a year ago, and I went ahead and picked them up because they were super cheap, and they've been on the shelf waiting for their time. I'm gonna dig out the copper spray because I am going to copper spray both sides, and then we'll bolt them on. All right, so not a huge fan of these gaskets. They're only like 3 layer. You know, they say LS9 and stuff, but they're not like legit GMs that are 7 layers, so that's kind of disappointing. But we'll go roll with it. So we'll get these things coppered up, and I hope I have enough copper. Oh, I'm gonna run out, ain't I? I don't know, we'll see. We'll concentrate on the main part of the gasket here. So, ooh, it's sounding empty. Officially out, but we didn't have. Alright, time for a trip to the parts store. Damn it. Alright, got back from the parts store. Got them both copper sprayed. We're gonna let this cure for a little bit and then we'll be back. Alright, we got our gasket on. We're gonna go get our headset on there and get our bolts started. And slapping this thing back together, and hopefully later today or early tomorrow we'll find out if she still overheats. Alright, so we're got the heads back together and torqued. I just torqued them all down to 65. I'm reusing the stock torque keyhole bolts. You know, as a sloppy mechanic fan, seems like Matt has good luck doing that, so I'm gonna do it too. So we'll see. Alright, just got the push rods and rockers on. Torqued them down to 22 foot-pounds of torque. And yeah, so we're just about done. We've got to do the intake and all that stuff. I guess I'll do the exhaust next. The exhaust will probably be the biggest pain. Only pain, really. This has been pretty easy. And then do the exhaust, do the intake. Then I gotta go to Walmart and get me some Rotella and change the oil in this thing. And then we'll fire up. Alright, so we've got both exhaust manifolds on. So we're fixing to get the exhaust tightened up there and there. And then we'll slap this intake on. And then all that's left is an oil change and a fire up. So we shall see. Alright, more progress. Got the intake on, fuel lines, vacuum lines. I think I got everything. Got the charge pipe on. So all that's left, change the oil and hook up the radiator hose where I drained all the oily water. And then we'll fire this thing up. Alright, we got the oil changed with 5 quarts of the good old Rotella. I run the 1540 because this motor's always had low oil pressure since I got it. So that fixes that problem. But anyway, we're going to dump some water in this thing and then fire up. Alright, we're going to prime this a few times looking for fuel leaks. Where's that? Look promising. Alright, we're going to say no fuel leaks, so we're going to press the button and see if she'll start. Alright, so we just got her back together and let her run. It got up to, so it's got a 160-degree thermostat in it, and it got up to 190, and the thermostat never opened. So maybe my thermostat's stuck, and that's what caused all these issues. So I'm going to let it cool off, and I'm just going to take the thermostat out, or maybe it opened now. Did my level go down? Hold on. Let's see. My radiator's still ice cold. Yeah, I'm gonna go thermostat stuck. So I'll let this thing cool off because the motor got nice and warm. Got up to 200. So we'll let this thing fully cool off, and then I'm gonna snatch the thermostat out, which is kind of gonna be a pain to get to. I don't know, hopefully I can get to it. And then we'll fire it back up. That's a bummer because you know, that's a new part. I bought a new thermostat for it. But so we'll see. So I was able to get the thermostat housing off, get the thermostat out. I just cut the thermostat because I need this gasket for it to seal. So I just cut it. So we'll just use this like a restrictor, I guess. and it'll go in there and we'll see how she runs now. Alright, so it's taking a lot longer to warm up without thermostat, but we're waiting for the coolant jets to come up, and then hopefully my little light from my fan will come on. And then we'll maintain over there at 180-ish, and we'll be fixed and back on the road. Alright, so our fans came on and our temp, so we're going to see if it'll maintain now. I'm going to have to go give her some gas. I need to up the idle a little bit on this thing. Alright, so the fans cooled it off, fans shut off. So I'm going to say all this was caused by a bad thermostat. So that sucks. But as long as the car's back running, it's raining today and tomorrow, so I won't be able to go for any test drives. But hopefully maybe Monday after work I'll take it out and see if she's going to maintain like she's supposed to. But yeah, so this was a lot of work caused by a thermostat, I think, is what I think it is. But honestly don't know if it's thermostat, but sure seems to be. It's just very strange because I've had lots of cars overheat in the past, and this one's just struck me as weird because I never smelled the antifreeze, never smelled like a hot motor. Motor ran fine when I shut off, so I don't know. But anyways, we got new head gaskets. We're not overheating, so seems like we're good to go. So hopefully the plan is to still work on this, getting this turbo spool a little bit better, and then we'll get back to the track. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.